In the first 3 months of 2025, American adults did something strange. They spent $1.8 billion on toys. We have officially overtaken preschoolers as the most important demographic for the toy industry. We need to talk about the cute industrial complex. We're talking about a system designed to weaponize your own biology against your bank account. We're going to look at the machinery behind the curtain. You think you're buying a toy, but you are not. You are entering a trap. To understand the economics, we have to understand the biology. In 1943, Konrad Lorenz proposed a concept called baby schema. He realized that while humans are predators, our babies are helpless. So evolution built a safeguard. It's a specific set of features: large head, low-set eyes, and round cheeks. And when you see this configuration, your orbital frontal cortex lights up. It floods your system with dopamine and oxytocin. It screams a single command: protect this. And corporations realized they could manufacture this feeling. Look at Mickey Mouse. In the 1920s, he looked like a rat. In over 50 years, Disney slowly turned him into a toddler: bigger head, shorter snout, huge eyes. And the same goes for Chuck E. Cheese and countless other franchises. We have supernormal stimuli. Look at Labubu or Grogu. They take these baby features and exaggerate them to impossible levels, and this triggers cute aggression, your brain short-circuiting from positive emotion. And toy companies are selling plastic and a biohack, and they are hot wiring our parental instincts to sell you a keychain. And on top of the biology, it's the packaging. Pop Mart is the master of the hook, and this company didn't just explode, it detonated. In the first half of 2024 alone, they generated over $630 million in revenue. Their stock doubled. People are lining up for blocks like it's some supreme drop. But Pop Mart did not invent cute toys. They didn't invent vinyl. They perfected the delivery system to what you know as the blind box. And to understand why this works, we have to look at the psychology of gambling. In the 1950s, B.F. Skinner ran a famous experiment. He put a rat in a box with a lever. In this scenario, every single time the rat pressed the lever, it got a pellet of food. And the rat was rational. It pressed the lever when it was hungry, it stopped when it was full. It was a transaction. And in scenario 2, Skinner changed the rules. Sometimes the lever gave a pellet, and sometimes it didn't. The reward was random, and the rat, it went insane. It pressed the lever over and over, and it didn't stop when it was full. It kept pressing because it might get a pellet. And that uncertainty created a compulsion. Skinner called this variable ratio reinforcement. And this is the exact psychological engine behind a slot machine. And it is the exact engine behind a blind box. When you walk into Pop Mart or rip open a pack of Pokemon cards, you aren't paying for the object, you're paying for the reveal. And neuroscience backs this up. We used to think dopamine was about pleasure. It's actually not. It's about craving. And the data shows that dopamine doesn't peak when you get the reward, it peaks before the reward. It peaks during the anticipation. The moment you shake the box, that is the high. And all of this is just probability and math. You have the commons, the ones that nobody wants, you have the rares, and then you have the secrets, and usually the odds of the secret are 1 in 144. And this creates the chase. You buy a box or a pack, you get a common or a semi-rare, your dopamine crashes, and the only way to fix your disappointment is to spin that wheel again and buy more. We are seeing people buying entire cases, spending hundreds of dollars into a single transaction just to bypass the probability and guarantee the rare. And let's call it what it is. This isn't collecting anymore. This is gambling. But because it comes in a cute package, we don't regulate it like a casino. We let the kids do it, we let teenagers do it, and we tell ourselves it's just harmless fun. But look at your bank account. The math is the same as Las Vegas because the house always wins. While the Pop Mart is the new giant, they are standing on the shoulders of the ultimate master, and that is Pokemon. Pokemon is the highest grossing media franchise in human history. It has generated over $100 billion. It makes more money than Star Wars, Marvel, and Harry Potter combined. But most people think Pokemon is a video game series, and it's not. The video games are a lost leader. They are marketing material. In 2023, the Pokemon Company made billions. The vast majority of that didn't come from Scarlet and Violet. It came from licensing. It came from the merchandise industrial complex. And Pokemon pioneered a strategy in Japan called the media mix. And the idea is that you don't just sell a product, you sell a lifestyle. You create a loop, you play the game, which means you watch the anime, which makes you want the plushie, which comes with a code for the trading card game, which makes you want to play the video game again. And the genius of Pokemon was gamifying consumption, and their slogan, "Gotta catch 'em all," is one of the most brilliant and destructive marketing phrases ever written. It is an imperative. It tells you that your job is not finished until you own absolutely everything. And they created a universe where your devotion is measured by your inventory. If you really love Pikachu, you don't just have the game, you have the shirt, the toothbrush, the limited edition plush that was only sold in Tokyo for 3 days in 2018. And all of this creates FOMO, fear of missing out, on an industrial scale. And collectors talk about grails. These are items that are impossible to find. A first edition Charizard card, a specific Labubu colorway, and that scarcity is artificial. These companies could print 10 million Charizards if they wanted to, but they don't. They strangle the supply to keep the hunger alive. And they treat their customers like resource extraction sites. But the cute industrial complex didn't just stay physical, it was also digital. And when it was digital, it got crazy. Remember the Tamagotchi? In 1996, Bandai released a plastic egg on a keychain. It had a screen with fewer pixels than a calculator. It was a digital pet. You had to feed it, clean it, and play with it. If you didn't, it died. And Tamagotchi sold 80 million units. It was a cultural phenomenon. But it introduced a dark psychological twist, which is what we call the responsibility loop. And before Tamagotchi, a toy waited for you. If you put your Barbie or your G.I. Joe in a box, it stayed there. It didn't care. But Tamagotchi, it beeped. It demanded your attention. It created a sense of obligation. And this was the first time a piece of consumer electronics used guilt as a retention mechanic. People formed genuine emotional bonds with a string of code. If you stop playing, you feel like you are neglecting a friend, and this cute face on the screen manipulates your empathy to keep you logged in, to keep you watching ads, and to keep you spending money. So we are being hacked by biology, manipulated by gambling mechanics, and guilt-tripped by pixels. So why do we keep putting up with it? Why is the kidult market, adults buying toys, the fastest growing segment of the toy industry? Because the real world is terrible. We are living through a polycrisis. Housing is unaffordable, groceries are expensive, politics are volatile, the climate is changing, and we are the most anxious generation in history. When the world feels sharp, we buy things that are soft, and enter the Squishmallow or the Jelly Cats. Squishmallows are marshmallows stuffed with polyester. They are simple, round, and incredibly soft. Since 2017, over 400 million of them have been sold, and psychologists point to deep pressure therapy. Hugging something soft and resistant releases oxytocin and lowers cortisol. It physically reduces your heart rate. It is a self-soothing mechanism. We have built a soft economy. We are filling our studio apartments, which we rent because we can't buy houses, with plush avocados and smiling toast. And look at the brand Jellycat. They make high-end plushies. They make a plush croissant that costs $35. They make a plush bag of popcorn, and these are status symbols. They are the avocado toast of the toy world. But they are also armor, because we are regressing. A lot of people buy the toy because the toy feels safe. The toy doesn't send us a past due notice, and the toy doesn't ghost us. The toy just smiles at us. However, there is a danger in confusing nostalgia with finance. Let's bring this all down to ground level. Let's talk about your wallet. This is an economic theory called the lipstick effect. The theory states that during economic downturns, consumers still want to spend money, but since they can't afford big ticket items like new cars or luxury vacations, they switch to smaller luxury goods. And historically, this was premium lipstick. And today, it's the blind box, it's the $15 plushie, and it is the little treat. We have a culture of doom spending. We feel like the big financial goals, home ownership, financial independence are impossible, so we give up on them. And we say, I'll never save $100,000 for a down payment, so I might as well spend this $20 on a toy that makes me happy right now. And it feels justifiable. It's cheap. It's the price of a lunch. But let's do the math. If you buy 2 blind boxes a week, that is $30. Maybe you buy coffee and a pastry to go with it. Let's call it $50 a week on little treats. That is $2,600 a year. If you invest $2,600 a year into the S&P 500 index fund with an average return of say 8% in 30 years, that is $300,000. And that is a house and freedom. But the thing is, the cute industrial complex is designed to hide the math. It fractures the cost. It hides the total sum behind hundreds of tiny, frictionless transactions. Apple Pay, one-click checkout, a tap of the card. It creates a leakage in your finances. You aren't going broke because you bought a Ferrari. You are going broke one blind box at a time. I am not a minimalist monk. I'm not telling you to live in an empty white room. I have toys on my desk. I have a Pikachu. I understand the pull. And the world is hard, and sometimes you just need to look at something that smiles back at you. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with some joy. But we have to be honest about where that joy comes from and what it costs. And that's it. Let me know what you think about cute things in this consumer culture we live in that's quietly draining our lives and wallets in the comments below. And if you enjoy videos like this blend of consumerism, pop culture, and finance, please leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any other videos. Thank you very much for watching. What is cute hurts when you step on it, and people all over the world spend the rent money on. That is Lego. So check out the next video on why people are more than willing to sacrifice their long-term financial health for pieces of plastic.